told the weather outside is not that cold, and if you take my hand, I'll walk with you to Georgia.
Hello and welcome to Country with Celine. Today we have a very special person joining us and I'm so excited to be chatting with him. His name is Dustin Chapman. He's performed with American Idol Scotty McCreery. We have to put that out there. But he's also been on American Idol and he's going to share his whole experience being on that show. His debut album charted 52 on the country album iTunes chart, surpassing, I should mention, Jason Aldean and also Taylor Swift. So kudos to him. And he recently released his latest single, Words and Alibi. So please welcome again, Dustin Chapman.
When he's gone tonight, you keep hoping that it takes him just a little while to sweep in, and offer you a reason to finally believe in his words and alibis.
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh, anytime. Okay, so let's start off with your latest release, Words and Alibi. Can you please describe the story behind that single of yours?
Yes, so basically I went to Nashville for some co-writing sessions, and while I was there, I went and toured Loretta Lynn's ranch in Hurricane Mills, Tennessee. Oh, wow. And so I got home and Loretta Lynn's story just really was weighing heavy on me. And so I watched her biopic, Coal Miner's Daughter, and then I watched Patsy Cline's biopic, Sweet Dreams, and got really inspired by their relationships in those movies and came in my building right here where I'm at right now and wrote that song. So.
Oh, I love that. I was not thinking that that's what the story was going. Oh, wow. Yeah. So you used to listen to, I'm guessing, like Patsy Cline and Loretta Lynn?
I love a lot of older country, especially Patsy. I think she has one of the best voices I've ever heard. So I just love the storytelling in older country music. So
It's the best. Classic country is the way to go, down to
yes,
right? And now your debut album, as I mentioned, it charted 52 on the chart, on the country album iTunes chart. And I said it did top Jason Aldean and Taylor Swift. So let's just talk about that album. I know a lot of artists, there's always that one song that they release on their EP that like sticks out to them the most. Which one would you say is yours on that?
From that one, it would be Break Me Down. That song kind of opened quite a bit of doors for me, and it's the one that more people gravitated towards from that EP. So definitely that one.
So break me down till the town I'm not around any longer. I'm out my own cloud. Pouring rain on my shoulder.
I like that one. I like the rhythm of that one as well. I had that down as one of my favorite from that album. And your voice too, I should mention, it's such a smooth but so deep type of voice. And like listening to your music, you hear the deep voice, but when I was talking to you, I wouldn't have expected you to still have that deep voice, because you know sometimes it's like different when you sing, but you have that like Scotty McCreery voice, like you have that.
You know, I hear that a lot. I guess it's you know, we're both from North Carolina, so I guess there's that influence in there. So
yeah, guaranteed. And now Dustin, let's just go on a little bit of more of a personal note. So in senior year, you were diagnosed with a rare condition called Achalasia, and it's an esophageal motility disorder that only affects 100,000 people each year. So it's extremely rare. So can you please explain in a little more depth so the viewers can actually understand more of what this condition is?
Right. So basically our esophagus, you know, that's what carries food and drink to our stomach and stuff. And so we have two parts, the upper part and the lower part, that opens up to let things into our stomach. Mine doesn't open up. So I can try to eat, try to drink, but it just kind of sits there and then comes back up. And throughout my whole childhood, I'd all the time have chest pains, and they could never figure out what it was. But it was when I was in high school, you know, performing a lot, and my voice just started going out of nowhere. I could not sing, couldn't hardly talk. And, you know, for me, that was extremely scary. And so I went to a doctor, and he was like, your vocal cords are black. We've never seen that. They're supposed to be white. And he sent me to a surgeon, and the surgeon did a surgery that he shouldn't have done, like, long story short. And so I woke up from that, was never able to eat properly again. And it turns out I had this disease the entire time, but that surgery kind of escalated it to a point that it probably wouldn't have gotten to otherwise. And so I had lost 60 pounds in 9 months. My kidneys were shutting down, and I got put in the hospital for about 6 weeks, and had a 13-hour surgery. And from there, it's been a bumpy road. You know, nothing's really cured it. The surgery didn't work, and I've been all over New York, Baltimore, Maryland, at Johns Hopkins, and top doctors around the country, but it's so rare that there's not much they can do for it. So just making do with what I can right now. So
Wow, what a story that is. A 13-hour surgery too. Oh my gosh.
yeah.
But Dustin, see, I would never have thought that that would be your story, because your personality and your positivity and your strength just outshines all of that. And I know during a time like this, it's taking a toll on a lot of people mentally, physically, emotionally, because of COVID, can't do this, can't do that. So everyone's kind of losing their strength in their own type of way. They're losing faith. How did you gather the courage and the strength to stay positive through all of that?
Well, you know, at first it was a little tough, but then that's when I started songwriting, was during my medical journey. And so that was a really huge outlet for me to let out any frustrations or negative emotions that I had, put them in words that others could relate to, and hopefully shine some positivity into their lives. And that's always what I wanted to do with my songs, is bring a little positivity and something people could relate to. And so that really is what kept me positive. And then I got hospitalized again for a month at the same hospital because my blood work got super bad. And I performed a song I wrote called Lead the Way at that hospital, and for the cancer patients. And a video from that went viral online. It had like 1 million views and was shared on like the Today Show and the Washington Post, like all over. And so getting messages from people all around the world telling me how that song touched them and their testimony, their story, and how my words were able to inspire them, how my testimony inspired them. Definitely, you know, it helps keeping you positive as well. So
That song was very inspirational. I had to listen to it as well, I have to say. And that's what artists do, right? Artists write music to connect with human beings, and they connect with them on such a close level that people can actually connect to otherwise, right? And it's all through music. Music is healing, and that is the truest line out there. But now, talking about music, so you were saying that you always loved music, you always loved singing. So let's talk more about your personal life. So your childhood, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Whiteville, North Carolina, which is where I live today. And, you know, just had typical, you know, family life, but we grew up loving country music. It was embedded in us. And so I started singing around 11 and haven't stopped ever since.
So you were surrounded by music your whole entire life. But so why country music? Why was your family fans of country music? Was it just the environment? Like they grew up listening to country music? Because I mean, you could have turned out a pop singer.
Hey, that's true. No, I definitely think the environment plays a role in it. You know, we're a very rural community, very small town, and a lot of country music describes our everyday life. And so I think that really gravitated myself towards it because I could relate to it, but also, you know, my grandfather and my grandmother listened to it, my mom and dad, and they, you know, now it's all down to us. So I think it's always just been a family thing because it's so relatable. So
it passes down through the generations. It's
right.
Your influence too, right? Like if your family listened to it, of course you're going to be listening to it, and of course you're going to get into that industry, right?
Right.
And I want to mention, there was a cover of yours by Garth Brooks. You sung The Dance. Everybody has to go and look at this cover because I was blown away. I've never heard the cover sung so well before. Because there's people that try to cover it, but I guess it's that deep voice that just draws you in, right? Because a high-pitched guy can't sing that.
Well, I appreciate it. You know, that I think I was like 18 when I did that. It's been a little while. I'm gonna have to pull that one back out now that you said that.
You gotta pull that one back. You gotta be posting that. So you were saying that you really listen to the older country and you like Patsy Cline, Loretta Lynn. So who would you say would be your dream collaboration? Would it be an old time singer, or is there someone in the new B area?
Right now, I would say Mo Pitney. I don't know if you've heard his stuff. He is definitely, he's a newer artist, but he's got that traditional sound, and I love it. And so he would be one. Also, Ronnie Dunn is a dream for me, you know. So definitely those two right now.
Well, I mean, hey, just manifest it, and you never know what can happen in the future.
That's right.
And now, I mentioned in the beginning, you were on American Idol. So let's get into this, because I'm sure everybody wants to know how the whole process goes down. So you were on the American Idol of this year, right? 2021?
Yes.
And you got to meet Luke Bryan, Katy Perry, Ryan Seacrest as well.
Yes.
And Lionel Richie. So just explain your experience to everybody.
Yeah, so, you know, this year casting was very different because of COVID. So everything was online. And so they had a designated date, and it was back in September. I think it was September 28th. That date kind of sticks out in my mind now. But they had a date for North Carolina. And I was at work when I saw it. And I said, you know what do I have to lose, you know? And so I got home from work. I hadn't practiced anything. And got home, came to this building, turned my computer on, clicked the Zoom link that they had set up, and just got on their audition. And so I waited for about, 20, 30 minutes. So it was very fast. And then, a producer just randomly popped up on my screen, and he asked me to tell him a little bit about myself, and then asked me to sing a song. I did my original slow dance. And then he asked me to sing a cover, and I did Don't Close Your Eyes by Keith Whitley. Then he asked me for another song, and I actually did Words and Alibis. And so he was very impressed and sent me on to the executive producers. And they asked me to sing 2 songs. So I did Slow Dance and Don't Close Your Eyes. And they were like, congratulations, you're going to sing for the judges. And then they sent me to sing more songs. I had to record myself singing 4 whole songs and send it to them via email. And then I had to interview with a producer for an hour. And explain my whole life story. And then it was funny because they were like, you'll hear something within 24 hours, and I never heard anything. And I was like, well, I guess they just decided to go a different direction. And then about a week later, I got a phone call, and they were like, Dustin, we've been emailing you like crazy. We really want you on the show. Are you not interested anymore? And I was like, yeah, I'm very interested. And they were like, well, is your email yada, yada, yada @gmail.com? And I was like, no, it's Yahoo. Y'all wrote down the wrong thing.
Oh.
And so I'm glad they called me, because that would have been, a missed opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
But literally 2 weeks later, they flew me out to LA, and I had my audition for Katy and Luke and Lionel, and I did my song Slow Dance, I did Don't Close Your Eyes, and I did Help Me Hold On by Travis Tritt. They asked me for 3 songs while I was there, and I got some pretty cool feedback, and made it to the first round of Hollywood Week. So
let's hear the feedback. Come on, don't just say
all right. So Lionel Richie, he said, you remind me of my friend Kenny Rogers. We used to record together. He told me, he was like, he actually stayed in my house for a while. We record together often. He said, you never missed a note. And me and Kenny used to fuss about this, because he would say, I'd tell him, you missed that note. And he'd say, country music's not about singing all the right notes. It's about how it makes you feel. And he said, you never missed a note, but you also made me feel something emotionally. And Katy Perry said, you're already the definition of an idol because of how you've used your story and how you've used it to inspire others. And Luke Bryan was like, I see a lot of myself at 23 in you, and I think you could be a star. And that was very gratifying and very rewarding to hear. There was some stuff they told me to work on too. They were like, you don't have to try so hard, And I was like, okay, I'm taking that in the note. And I got to Hollywood Week, and that was the end of my journey with Idol for this season. You never know what might happen in the future. But it was the most beautiful experience, and I've met so many amazing people through it, and made some wonderful connections. So,
how long would you say that whole process took you?
Well, I started the audition process in September.
Yeah.
Hollywood Week was around December. So
Okay. So a couple months.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I always thought with American Idol, it was pre-recorded as the sense as it's recorded like a couple months ago, then it gets aired. I keep forgetting that it's actually live. Like,
everything is pre-recorded up until top 24.
Okay, so yeah.
So they didn't air, like, this season didn't start airing until February. So they did Hollywood Week in December, that kind of thing. So
yeah, okay, that makes sense. But that's such a cool experience. And 2022, that's around the corner. Who knows?
Hey, it is.
It might be on it again. Oh wow, and that's such good feedback too. It's like to sing in front of Lionel Richie, especially like Katy Perry, yes, in the front, of course, but Lionel Richie, and like to hear his feedback, that's amazing. I mean, that is so cool that you got to experience that. And I feel like you've been kind of manifesting it low key since you were 15 and 16.
Yes.
With that American Idol experience in Disney World and the Hollywood studio. So wow, I can't wait till 2022. That's gonna be
hey, fingers crossed.
Yes, fingers crossed. And now, as I mentioned as well before, you got to perform with Scotty McCreery. Okay, so he was an American Idol winner. I can't remember what exact year because it was a while ago, but I remember watching that season. So how was that experience, like singing with Scotty McCreery, performing with him? What did you take away from all of that?
Oh man, it was awesome. He gave me a lot. We stayed together that whole day. Everyone just saw a 3-minute video, but we were together that whole day. And his wife was there, and so I got to see a lot, learn a lot. He gave me like a signed copy of his book, signed copies of his CDs, and he talked with me about the business. He told me some things that he's had to go through in the industry to get where he's at today. Even because, people think, you win American Idol, you're propelled to the scene and you're set, but there's so much beyond that people don't see. And so he gave me just some great advice. And, just singing with him was amazing. And I got to play some of my original music for him too, and get his feedback on that. So it was a lot of fun.
That's such a cool experience. That's such an experience that you would take away and like treasure that in your heart forever, right?
Right.
I think I even mentioned to you before when you first messaged me, and honestly, Dustin, this was before I even knew that you performed with Scotty McCreery, that any of that, I literally said, and I'm going to put it up here so everyone can see, that your voice reminded me of Scotty McCreery. I guess it's that deep twang country accent, that country voice, but you guys have it, and I'm really excited to see what the future holds for you, Dustin. So before I let you go, we're going to play a little game it's called Country with Celine Rapid Fire. So basically, I'm going to shoot you out a couple questions and just answer them, and we'll take it from there. Sound good?
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so the first one is, what is your favorite movie?
My favorite movie, Aladdin.
Aladdin?
Yes.
Ah, I like that. I've never heard that one before. Well, who would you want to play you in a movie?
Who would I want to play me? Oh, that is a good question.
Right.
My mind goes to Tom Hanks, but he's old, but like young Tom Hanks, that.
Okay, that's fair. Would you consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert?
I think I'm an introverted extrovert, if that makes sense.
That's so fair. Like, you got both.
Yeah.
And now, who would you say knows you best?
My niece. She's 15. We go around singing together, and she's my little best friend. So
that's your niece in your videos?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's adorable. So she's trying to pursue her music career as well?
She is, and she's actually got a single out too. It's called Stranger. I wrote it and she recorded it. So if you ever get bored and want to check it out, her name's Riley Madison.
Oh, so I guess that's what we all have to do. I'll be posting her up on Country with Celine.
All right.
Okay, thank you so much, Dustin, for chatting with me today on Country with Celine. It was such a pleasure talking to you. And like I said, I can't wait to see what the future holds. And I can't wait till 2022 American Idol. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Hey, I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
'Cause I just wanna slow dance to some whole record. Made that type of romance that we'll remember.